I am so honored and extremely humbled to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. I just hope that whatever I have to say is going to be interesting. So I'm going to do everything I can. But look, I'm going to be speaking for less than 5 minutes. The last thing I want to do is bore you with, my experiences and recounting, my experience with Circl. I also want to open it out for questions. So if there's any specific question that you have about Meta, about my experience, or just about Circl, we'd love to go through those and answer them as best as we can. But I wanted to take these couple of minutes just to talk about a few topics that I was asked to talk about. The first was really around my experience with Circl. So when I think about Circl and Circl at Meta, it's kind of twofold. When I joined Meta 3 years ago, there was a lot of noise, a lot of good noise around Meta. I found when I spoke with people, they would speak, around Circl. When I spoke with employees and colleagues, they would say that, Circl is really about community building. You've got to do it. It's really, really good. It really helps with, conversations that you're having with colleagues. It helps with performance conversations. And I was like, what the hell is this? This sounds really, really cool. And then the second thing for me, which really, really resonated, was it really spoke to a frustration that I'd had, when I was younger. I'm actually really old, so this is going back a long time ago when I was at university. I was very inquisitive, getting to know people in different industries, getting to know what people do. I wanted to know what did you do in oil and gas? What did you do in the Big Four? What does, somebody do in investment banking? I just wanted to have conversations with people. And I would reach out to people on LinkedIn for coffees. And I'd say for the most part, people would, just respond to the question. But I really felt like what I wanted to do was really dig deeper. I wanted to know more. And that's where I felt like there was that obstacle. And it really frustrated me. And I really lost faith in a lot of people as well. I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm going to be honest. I lost faith because I was like, do you know what? If I was in that position and somebody was asking me for advice, I would give it. I'd give it because, you're helping someone. And then when Circl came about and I started reading about Circl and seeing what it does, I was blown away. I was like, here is a community that basically recruits students, really smart kids, and basically takes them into organizations and creates bonds with employees at those organizations, which they do a really good job of, but actually really connect people. And I think the testament to all of this is a session that I did with Radwah and Catherine, which was at Meta, and I was on a panel with some other employees, and we were just vulnerable on that panel. We allowed 25 kids in a room to just ask us absolutely anything about Meta, anything about our experience, anything about career strategy, and then we had an open session afterwards where people could come to us individually and say, look, I think next time you should do this. This is what I wanted when I was at university, or coming into the work world, as we'd call it. And Circl did that. So I know I'm biased because I've been with Circl for now 3 years, but hopefully the two points that I've just given should and hopefully resonates as to why it's something that's really touched me, and also something why it's also really important to me. The other thing I also wanted to talk about was just around the learnings of coaching, and how it's benefited me as an employee at Meta, but also how it's sort of helped in creating an inclusive workplace culture. I think the first thing that I noticed with Circl was, I'll be very honest with you, I went into it thinking, I know this stuff. I know how to coach. It's very straightforward. I have a lot of conversation with people. I've interviewed in my career. This is a walk in the park. What am I really going to learn? And what I found was it really helps with structuring your conversations. I found I've used it with hires in my team. I've used it with colleagues, speaking to them at lunchtime. It's incredible how you use the structure, because what it teaches you is open questions, simple things that we forget when we're talking to people, paraphrasing, holding silence, such important techniques that just make people step back and think, this is a really interesting conversation. It really makes you very thoughtful about the conversation you're having. Probably a really quick example I can give you is last December, I was quarantined in a hospital. I was in Delhi and I got COVID. It was really depressing. I was there for 1 week. felt like my life stopped for 1 week, but I was basically working still, I had nothing better to do. And I was speaking to my hire, who was really struggling with some information that I'd given him. I can be very transparent here. I basically asked him over the month of December to really think about his strategy. And he was really, really struggling. I was struggling as well with my health. And, you know, I had to have some crucial conversations with him, some really difficult conversations. And I was really using the Circl techniques. And I used it without even thinking. So it really helped for me to be thoughtful with what I was asking, but also it kind of showed him that I respected and I appreciated the predicament that he was in because he was struggling, and we worked through the whole thing, you know, together. So yeah, I would say those are the sort of the examples I would give. And I think what it's also helped, and I think Radwah talked about this really well earlier on, it really helps to you know, build that inclusive workplace culture. I think what Circl, and this is the last thing I'd say, what Circl and the techniques that it's taught me has really done for me is for me to really think about who I'm talking to, how I need to talk about them, how I need to talk to them, the language I'm using, and also just how I'm structuring that conversation. It's really helped me with my performance conversations, which is something difficult for everyone. And again, for those crucial conversations as well. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I don't want to go on for longer, but I would love to open this out to, you know, any Q&A, any questions that you will have for myself or Radwah. Thank you for your time, and I hope that was helpful.
Thank you to both of you. It's an honor to have you here. I myself was part of the Circl program. I attended last year, and I know what you're saying. Even the way, even, you know, on Circl, I also learned how to identify, let's say, a particular goal, clear goal, and also how to use the T-Grow model.
Yes, yeah.
Well, and sometimes I even, you know, just go back to the question and try to use them also with just family members, just to say, just to calm them down or help them to find a solution to their problem. And yes, and what I loved about Circl is also the fact they taught us the difference between mentorship and coaching. Sometimes we think they are synonymous, but they are two different things.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I took Circl around 4 months ago. Actually, I completed the program with the Cushman company. Yeah, it was a great opportunity for me. And I learned how to, as Sid said, I learned how to use T-model, how I can ask the question. Actually, this is the one thing what I gained in Circl, because I was thinking to give my friends a reply, but the important part is asking the correct questions if you want to take a good reply. And yeah, it was a good opportunity for me, and I definitely recommend for everyone. Thank you again.
Yes, regarding the matching, I can tell you that the matching is amazing. I was matched with Pao from PepsiCo, and we both were shocked because we look alike. We had the same passion and stuff, and we are still in contact. So it's very amazingly done. And thank you again, Radwah. Sid, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How was your experience at Meta?
How was my experience at Meta? Oh, wow, I'm surprised that no one else has asked me this question.
People are shy, so
it was no, it's fine. It was the question that was asked when we did the panel, you know, between Circl and Meta. Look, it's honestly been an amazing experience, and I know that you're probably thinking that I'm going to say that because I've been there for 3 years, but honestly, contrary to what you hear in the news about Meta all the time, it's a really compassionate, very empathetic company. You know, during COVID time, it was incredible how, you know, they looked after every single employee. And I think those are things that you remember when you think about, you know, the company you work for. I think the other thing is, and I'm not just saying that because it's a topic that we've talked a lot about already, but like inclusivity and like literally how we do business on a daily basis in an inclusive manner and what that means. It's something that's really drilled into us, and you know, all facets of inclusivity are drilled into us, into all the conversations we have, into the way that we talk about, you know, performance, which is a big thing at Meta right now. So you know, I can be myself. I can really be my authentic self in the company, and that's a really wonderful feeling. And I think, anybody here on, in this call, if you're looking at a company going forward, of course, come to Meta, but also if you don't want to come to Meta, that is really important that you see the culture. Is it a collaborative culture? Is it a company where, you've got diversity? So you've got diversity of thinking, diversity of thought, but also is it a company where you can be yourself? Do you have to be somebody else? That is not a company for anyone. And, those three things, boxes are ticked for Meta. So I really like it. So don't know if I'm going to be there, how long I'll be there for. Could be 10 years, it could be another 3 years, but I'm not counting. I'm just enjoying it. The other thing that's going to happen, which I'm speaking with Catherine, is that we're doing another event potentially. So, and this will be more like tailored to, like, I think it's career conversations and like career strategy, and also CVs, which is, I think, something that came out of the last session. So we're looking forward to doing that.
Also, sorry if I missed it, but what is your position at Meta?
Yeah, you know what? That was something, very good question. It was something I forgot to mention. I got so excited in talking about, the questions I prepared. So I globally lead our partner support strategy for all our partners, so like system integrators, technology partners, and resellers. So they're typically partners that would sell one of our SaaS product, which is Workplace. And if they have questions to our business, I've built the entire model, for them to get their questions answered, for that, engagement and that, communication to happen. So yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's been fun.
And I have a question, Sid. Maybe it was my fault. Maybe I wrote your name wrongly, but I couldn't find you on LinkedIn.
Oh, you know what? I haven't even been on my LinkedIn profile for a while, so I don't even know if my name is Sid or if it's Siddharth. So I'll
we are in
check.
career fair now.
It's Siddharth. It's Siddharth.
Is it Siddharth? Yeah. Do you want me to send the link to you now by this chat, or I can send it?
It's okay.
Yeah, I can send that. But yeah, it would be great to be connected. Or I can also just connect myself to you.
I have another question. You work for big companies. You work for Goldman Sachs. You work.
God, you've really done your research, haven't you, Omar?
Yeah, it's my job, right? So, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's fresh graduate and have to start to work? Sometimes we don't have, people to ask questions, and sometimes when you see kind of big thing, that you are going to be the best suit. So what kind of advice would you give to your fresh graduate?
It's an excellent question. And honestly, I think it's a question that, if you ask anybody, they're going to give a different answer. Let me give you the answer that I feel is the most honest one, and that's worked for me. The first thing I would say to anyone is that, look, if you don't have your life planned out, you don't know what you want to do, it's fine. It is actually fine. Do not listen to anyone that says that, okay, by the age of 12, you need to know that you want to be a doctor, or you need to know that you want to be a lawyer. It's really wrong, because I think what it does is it really dampens any sort of creativity, and also just living through, a journey that you need to go through to really get to know yourself. The second thing I'd also urge people to do is to make a stab, at least, of thinking about what their strengths are, because I think that's the power you have. Work on the strengths, let that lead you down a path. But don't forget about your weaknesses as well, because those things will crop up as you move into your roles. And the other thing I'd also say as well, and this is something I feel like I did well at, is learn quickly how to market yourself. Really think about, okay, if somebody was standing, if an executive was standing next to you in an elevator or just in a shop or wherever it is, and they ask you, okay, tell me about yourself. You have a cogent, but also an impactful, statement, or you can have an impactful conversation with that person. Really start thinking about that, because it takes years to perfect that. And that's something that you'll have to do in an interview. And you never know, it could be the interview. I mean, I remember the interview I had with Goldman Sachs, they asked that question and I'd always been thinking about it. So, it really helped me in that interview scenario. So I think that impactful statement about yourself is unique to you, and it will be useful at some point in that, in the interview that will matter to you.
Thank you. There's a question from Amin.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I do have a quick question. So you talked about how important it is to feel comfortable and like yourself in the work environment.
Yeah.
My question comes from my experience in PwC. I think I fell for the prestige. How can I say, the prestige trap, where I've seen like this great picture where like I've seen all my colleagues and students that have taken my course working in this company, like wearing great suits and like talking about their experiences. And I had my experience there, my internship, and I didn't quite fit in, and I was like, okay, maybe I am the problem, so maybe I should try to change and do something to, you know, like negotiate my my identity with myself.
Yeah.
How do we not fall for that trap, and how we can find a workplace and an environment where we can actually be ourselves and have an impact?
God, look, you guys are really asking great questions. I'm glad you are. That's a really, it really is a great question. And look, the answer I would give to that is, you know, it's easy for me to say right now. Look, I'm in a company right now where I feel I fit in. It ticks a lot of boxes that are important to me. I'm 36 today, sitting in front of you. I've gone through a journey. I've worked for lots of different companies. And, you know, that whole journey has allowed me, it's permitted me to work out for myself what is important to me. Culture, being, you know, being my authentic self, those are things that are really important. Has that happened in every experience? Has that happened in every job that I've been at? No. Goldman Sachs, great company, phenomenal company. You work with phenomenal, ferociously intelligent people. The culture did not work for me. The culture did not work for me. I could not be my authentic self. But in that experience, or in that time that I was there, I learned a lot about what it is that I wanted. And, you know, I did the same at Microsoft. Microsoft as well was not an environment for me. You know, I don't thrive in environments where people are ferociously competing against each other. I thrive in an environment where it's collaborative, where people want you to be part of a project because they see the value you can add. But what I'm trying to say in a convoluted way, apologies, is that your experience at PwC, please don't let it dampen your spirits. Please don't let it make you think that you've made the wrong decision. It's actually enabling you to work out what is important to you, so that when you go for the next interview, you will know what you're looking for. And the other thing I'd also say as well is that don't just fall for prestige. When you're at the interview, or when you're at the, you know, internship interview or whatever, interview the interviewer. This is something that people don't do enough of. Like, ask them, challenge them, you know, ask them those difficult questions, challenge the recruiter. You know, often I speak with recruiters, and no disrespect to recruiters, but sometimes they don't know enough about the culture. They don't know enough about the environment. So sometimes they don't even know enough about the role. Challenge them. You know, think about questions that you want to ask, that you can get a sense of, okay, is this a place that I want to be at? And really spend time on that, because, you know, when you go for your next interview, you're going to get the most out of it. But the final thing I'll say is that don't let a bad experience dampen your spirits, and don't let it make you question yourself. What you're doing is going through a journey, and it's important to do that. And I salute you for doing that. I salute you for putting yourself out there. It's not easy, and also it's not easy to feel like you don't belong, but it's important. It's really important. So I hope that answers your question. I tried my absolute best to give you a balanced view.
Thank you. I think that answers the question, and hopefully is useful for others.
And yeah, look, add me on LinkedIn. Please, if you have any further questions or anything about interviews or anything like that, I love to help on those things. So I'm an open door when it comes to that. That's to anyone and everyone on this call.
Thank you for being so, available. And and help. It's not very easy for young people to find people that are willing to help. Sometimes
Yeah,
I see
I know that.
people have a full profile, you cannot add them and stuff. You need a premium version just even to write a message and stuff. So
Yeah,
I think that also as you can tell, I look onto your LinkedIn. I really like the way that you are very open, so someone can just connect with you.
yeah.
Well, thank you.
That was all intentional, So yeah.
Are there some other questions?
I think Arifa Rahman has raised.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Well, I joined midway, so I couldn't hear the whole thing. I was wondering, can you write your full name as I can find it on LinkedIn or share the link,
yeah.
please?
I will do that right now.
Thank you very much.
Apologies. I'm really glad that you guys want to add me. I feel very honored, so thank you. So if you have any issues with finding my LinkedIn, let me know. But that's my full name there in the group. And look, any questions you have, like anything that you didn't feel comfortable asking here because you might be shy or whatever it might be, you can ask me via LinkedIn. Thank you, Radwah. I'm happy to help as much as I can. And again, I said it before, I'm honored to be here and very humbled. So thank you for having me.